This is the WatchGeekTime podcast.
WatchGeekTime! Hey everybody. Scott Goldman with WatchGeekTime, Tim Jackson with Independent Time.
Hello everybody.
IndependentTime.com. We got a lot to get to today. Thanks for tuning back in with us. As often as we talk about watches, today we're going to take a little departure. We're going to focus on a couple of guys, the Masters, George Daniels, Roger Smith. You had a guy you wanted to talk about. We got lots of pictures to show you. As we like to start off each show, we talk about what we're going to be, what we're wearing, but we're also going to talk about AI today and a couple other things.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Right. So should we start off with what you got on there?
Sure.
All right.
The classic Speak Marin.
PSM.
Yeah. So this watch is from, again, 2005, old school. It's the classic Piccadilly. This is, we'll put it out here.
I'll get us out of the image here. All right.
And yeah, let's blow that one up a bit. Yeah,
It's such a great watch.
Yeah.
How is that different than mine? Is the dial different? It looks like almost the exact same piece.
No, the dial's actually, interestingly enough, the dial is identical. So Peter, this is the original 38 millimeter case. So his original, yours is a 42 millimeter case.
Right.
So when he designed this watch in the early 2000s, that was when the bigger watches were coming onto the scene, or had been already on the scene with Panerai. And so the industry was sort of pushing for bigger watches. Consumers were asking about bigger watches. And so Peter was like, well, I'll design a bigger watch. Being practical, he thought, well, I don't want to redesign the dial, the hands. So he basically just designed a case that had a step in the bezel and was then 42 millimeters, but it uses exactly the same dial, hands, movement, everything else.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's such a classic looking watch. I don't know why we're getting flicker. Maybe we won't anymore, but the Piccadilly hands, and why are we flickering? Who knows?
Yeah.
Excuse me one sec, folks. See if I can fix that.
Technical hitch.
It is live. We are live. What are we supposed to do? We're live. Go ahead and slide that guy a little forward there.
Yeah. So the enamel dial is initially what appealed to me. I've gone on and about enamel dials for years.
It's also got the Roman numerals,
Yeah.
which is right in your wheelhouse.
Elongated Roman numerals, so it's very
Elongated. There you go.
Yeah. And his hands, blued steel hands. I love the lugs. I mean, just the style of it.
Is that a blue strap you got on there?
Yeah, navy blue.
Very nice.
It's a
Pops the hands very nicely.
And just
Of
we've
course.
shown this before, but this is
let me
the.
get this in. And just again to reiterate.
Embarrassingly, I didn't wipe it before we put it
Don't
in
worry.
there.
Again, we're live.
Well, there we go.
But there, if you haven't noticed, that's a topping tool.
Yeah, the motif, the shape.
Yeah, the shape of the rotor is a topping tool, which is just.
Yeah,
Is that a platinum watch?
it is.
Oh my God! Can I feel how heavy?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, that's heavy!
There's always one lunatic.
Oh, that's me. That's me. It's a fantastic piece. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's we featured this before, but it's one of my favorites.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So.
All right. So what am I sporting today? Let's see. So today I promised you all I would wear
There it is.
my Martin Braun EOS. So let's get this guy off, and we're going to talk a little bit about. There's a lot to talk about with this watch.
Yeah.
So let's go. You will control that over there. Give it a wipey.
Yeah.
And I'll cut over as soon as you put it in there. Very nice. I'll get us out of frame. All right. So this is the Martin Braun EOS, and EOS is the Latin word for sun, goddess of sun. And essentially what this watch does is it tells you the sunset and sunrise times in your particular area. So if we're looking at the left side of the watch, that's great right there. Sunrise right now in Los Angeles is about 5:40, and Tim's going to point that out to us.
So that's
About 5:40 right there.
right down there.
And you'll notice that hand is connected to the cam at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, down there.
So it's controlled by that. The cams are actually what controls the hemisphere that we're in. And if you notice on the right side of the watch, the sunset tracking is at 7 p.m., which is about right.
Yeah,
Controlled by a cam at 7 o'clock.
down there.
And we've got the semi-Saxony date at 12. But no second hand, plenty of stuff going on the dial. And if you look at the dial itself, it's actually I guess that's a sunray dial, or
Yeah.
that's how we would describe it. Anyways, I love this watch. This is a reissue by a company that Martin worked with called Schaumburg. It's actually a brand new EOS.
Yeah. So this was the original watch that got me interested in Martin Braun way back when, which would have been in probably, go back to 2000, 20 years,
I was
6?
going to say 2004, 2005?
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that region. And, this watch, it was remarkable. Nobody had come up with a sunrise sunset in a wristwatch, to my knowledge. And Martin figured out the mathematics in those cams, because that's what it is. And each watch, you basically, depending on where you live in the world, because your latitude had a big determinant to the difference of sunrise and sunset. And so, and the scale on the dial had to be, because if you're close to the equator, there's very little variance to nothing. So, and the further you go away from the equator, the bigger variance, or the bigger scales. So if somebody's up in northern, in Canada or something, or in northern Europe, they had to have a dial with the scale had to be bigger to accommodate the variance of sunrise and sunset, depending on the seasons.
Well, like in Alaska, the sun's up for 6 months and gone for 6 months.
Right.
Our buddy down in Australia has one of these.
Yeah.
He has one of the originals, and he moved down, when he moved down to Victoria, he did not send it back to the factory. He's just happy to have it. He's got it backwards, like 6 months or something, and he was telling Martin and I, we did a podcast on his Fifth Wrist show, and he was explaining to Martin how he had overcome the issue, and Martin was going, yeah, okay.
So anyway, this has the MAB 88. Am I correct in that?
You are exactly correct.
His in-house caliber that he developed while he was working, actually, or rather not working, but when he was his company was bought by Frank Mueller Watchland.
From Watchland, yeah.
Yeah, so he was able to develop his own movement.
And this is it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's really great. It's actually nicely decorated. It's machine decorated. This is not done by hand. It's not a $50,000 watch.
Right.
It's number 13 out of 20, so, I mean, I always want to have number 13. And I wanted you to,
So those are the correctors right there. We're seeing
there's
that.
a pusher right there, but also it's what they call a coin edge case. So the reason they call it a coin edge case is it looks like the side of a quarter. And this is an ode to Martin's father, who was a case maker in Florsheim.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This was sort of Martin's dad's signature move on the side of the case.
Yeah, coin edge cases are not actually easy to do properly.
No, very difficult work. Actually, even though this is machine done, you can see each pipe, if you turn it just for 1 sec back to each pipe has to be specifically milled. So it's really quite a lot of work.
Yeah. Cool watch.
Very cool watch.
Yeah,
very
Martin's a great watchmaker.
Oof,
Yeah.
one of the best, and a good friend of ours, and I know we're a little biased. Martin wanted me to show off. I have a watch of, Martin said he wanted me to show the watch he's wearing today. He said he wanted to get it on the wrist stuff.
Oh, he did? Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so let me see. He sent it to my WhatsApp. Let me just, if I can bring it up on here real quick. I'll make it super quick, because Martin...
Well, we're going to have him on.
We are. So he's just moved, he went into Spain, and now Martin...
for his winter.
For his winter Spain, and now he's... So let me get us out of here and there. So I don't know why he does it like this, but let me just see.
In the middle of the RV.
So he took a picture. He's in his RV on the way down to Spain, and that's the watch. watch Martin's wearing. I said, Martin, you want to be on the wrist shot today? He goes, yeah, I'm wearing a piece of shit.
Scheiße.
I'm wearing a piece of Scheiße, sorry.
All right.
So now we got a lot to get to, right? So, okay, that's Martin's watch. We're back here. This is you and me. Now, we had two questions. Let's tackle those.
Oh, yeah, let's hear.
Vince from Houston, and it kind of dovetails nicely into what we're talking about today because we're talking about George Daniels. Why was George Daniels so important to independent watchmaking?
Well, how do you unpack that?
Well, I mean, he's the
look,
father of independent watchmaking. We can start there.
Yeah, he was really the first person that in recent times, in the last 50 years, who looked at mechanical watches and realized that there was probably people that would be interested in buying a watch made by hand by one person. And this was sort of the antithesis of the Swiss watch industry, which was reigning. They were reigning the watch world with all the great companies, Patek, Vacheron, AP, blah blah blah. What George did was basically, and he was self-taught. He figured out how to make a watch, and these originally were pocket watches. One guy making a watch by hand, using traditional tools, watchmaking tools that have been around forever. And he figured out all the different methods, all the different ways that you have to work in order to build a watch from scratch. So there's math involved, there's physics, and then there's obviously the art of it.
There's metallurgy, there's engineering. I mean, it's 5, 6, 7 disciplines, which he even talks about in his books.
Well, he actually and so what's now referred to as the Daniels method, Roger Smith uses the Daniels method, if you will. There's 32 or 33 skill sets that you have to master in order to make a watch from scratch. The only ones that he didn't get to are actually making a spring, a hairspring, or a mainspring from scratch, because he figured there were enough of those being made by companies, and they're very difficult to do. So, other than the spring and the mainspring, he figured out how to make a watch from scratch. And the culmination of that really is this watch now that's on the screen. This is the Daniels 35th anniversary watch, which shortly prior to his death, the prototype piece he and Roger built. And Roger Smith, who is his one and only student.
His only protege, really.
His only protege, period. And he didn't, George never took anybody else on. For some reason, Roger did enough work, put the time in with creating his second pocket watch, which then, after George looked at it and said, okay, this is a handmade watch, you're now a watchmaker.
So Roger impressed him, really.
Yeah, but it took a long time. His first watch.
Well, sure, I don't think anybody impressed George.
Not really, no.
A couple of things I want to point out. I mean, did George do all the engine turning on the dial as well? I mean...
Well, it's all done to his design. So in the actual making of these watches, Roger was helping him, because at this point, George was fairly infirm, sadly. And so, but the design of this watch is all George Daniels. And this is a culmination of his, 50 years of making watches. And he wanted to make a wristwatch, and he wanted to celebrate his coaxial escapement. And this was and it was the 35th anniversary of when he developed the coaxial. And what is a coaxial? The coaxial is an escapement, which this is the time-telling part. There's a balance wheel which oscillates backwards and forwards, and then how that interacts with the movement to pass out time, to separate, time into seconds. Your traditional way of doing it, which was in English, and then it became a Swiss lever. Oscillates backwards and forwards, and it goes backwards and forwards. So George realized that this was clever, but it was not mechanically, engineeringly the most efficient way. and there were more efficient ways of doing it. There were better timekeepers that required less lubrication. Initially, that was a
and less maintenance was also his.
Yeah, spring detonate chronometer, but which was more accurate, didn't require the lubrication, but it didn't self-start. So he wanted to develop a better mechanism, and it took him a long time. But he came out with a coaxial, which is basically two wheels.
Kind of looks like that. It's kind of instead of a Swiss lever like that. I'm just kind of being obtuse about it. It's kind of looks like that.
It's a little more complex than that. But
well, of course. But I mean, this is the simple. You've got an oscillator going back and forth, and you've got a Swiss lever going like this. With the coaxial, you actually have it. The force is traveling across two axles, which is why it's a coaxial.
Yeah, there's two levels, and George
I'm
had
obtuse about it.
George had two wheels in the original design, and actually Roger improved upon that. So now it's a single wheel. And the issue was that you have two wheels on one axle. There's a possibility of them, if I get straight with it, if one of them changes, then you're gonna have problems. So Roger's design made it into one wheel, but it has this high teeth that come off it.
That was his
improvement.
That was his improvement. George was super impressed by that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what's in this watch. This particular watch belongs to a friend of ours, and he's been kind enough to allow me to take photographs, and actually this video was running behind. It's superb work. Why? But the question is, why was Daniels so important to indie watchmakers? Because he was the first guy that really showed the path or the way. And then he, guess what, wrote a book about it. And actually, I have the book. I started reading it and very quickly got bogged down because it is so technical. But even the first chapter talks about, where do you set up your watch bench? And George
how do you light it properly? I mean, he was a whole...
You got to have the window facing the north daylight so you don't get the bright sunshine that's good. All this stuff. He was the commensurate watchmaker because he documented how to do it. And that is a legacy that he's left behind for independent watchmakers. They can buy the book, and if they take the time and they've got the skill set and the patience, they can actually make a watch from scratch.
Sure.
It's not easy to do.
No. And if it was easy, anybody could do it.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to do it to this level, I would think.
Well, it takes an inordinate amount of time. And this is a lifetime's work in this watch right here. I mean, that's what you're looking at.
And the guy who the other gentleman who we both know owns that other Roger Smith, we happen to know the great story between him and George Daniels as well.
Yeah,
so
and he wrote about it.
And he wrote about it in his book. So,
yeah, fantastic. This watch here, this one I'm showing here, this was actually taken in, this is another one, another one of the original owners.
Another 35?
Yeah. This is a London
I don't mean, it's the 35th anniversary of the coaxial escapement.
Yeah.
There were 35 watches. Pretty much they were all sold from the day they were announced. So.
Yeah. And they're all reside in collectors' hands. And this is another one. This is a yellow gold. The watches were made 35 in yellow gold, but he also made, there were, I believe, 5 sets were going to be made of a yellow gold, a white gold, a red gold. And those were going to be sold as a set of 3 watches to collectors, and they ended up not selling them as sets, but they sold them individually. I know of a few people that have the red gold watches, and then also they made a platinum. They made a few platinum watches, but it is it's sort of the ultimate in watch collector circles.
It's one of those watches that when you guys see it in the metal, it's one of the very few watches that will take all the air out of your body.
Yeah.
It is really a phenomenal piece.
Yeah.
Next question, and then we'll get.
Did we answer that question?
I think we did.
Yeah.
George Daniels was very important because he's the grandfather of independent watchmaking.
Yeah.
And you couldn't just go to George and say, make me a watch. He'd say, yeah, I don't know if I even know who you are. He has to like you to...
And the interesting thing, I'll just bring this up, is that of all the independent watchmakers, ateliers or workshops that I've been to, they all have a copy of George Daniels' watchmaking in their library. I mean,
We're not watchmakers, and we have several copies of his. Yeah.
No.
I mean, his books are daunting. So.
Yeah.
I think I got through page 7 once.
No,
And the
it's-
first 6 pages were an intro.
I tell you what, the best book for Daniels, for me anyway, was a book that he wrote as an autobiographical account of his life, and I can't even remember the.
That's what I have.
Yeah, that's a fun book to read because it's an easier reading book than his technical tomes, which, unless you're a watchmaker, can get you bogged down.
Well, because there's literally drawings and sketches and protractors and sextants and
and he's using words that are very
nobody
complex.
knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's self-taught, which is the other miracle.
Yeah, remarkable.
Okay.
Next question.
Second, Tim, why do you think the indies have become so popular?
Well, why? I think there's a combination of a couple of things. Number one is time, and that's just a reality.
You hear how he worked the word time in there?
Number two, and that's so when I first started with them 20 years ago, nobody knew about them. There was no way for people to understand or even gain knowledge other than a few websites, and that was about it in chat rooms, if you will.
So to that point, then the internet did certainly play a role.
And that's why I'm saying time.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then the second factor, which was huge, was COVID. Why do I say that? Because that time, certainly in the Western world and most of the world, but let's say where collectors were, guys were sitting around. They couldn't go to the office. They're sitting around at home, guys, girls, whatever, sitting at home, a lot of time on their hands. What do? They go and start searching the internet for stuff that interests them. If you're a watch guy, you're going to look at watch pictures, watch websites, you're going to become part of a watch chat on WhatsApp or a
Sometimes
group
we
on
call it
Facebook.
watch porn.
So we do. And so the knowledge was being spread around by that, which was fantastic. At the same time, you had people with extra money in their back pocket, if you will. They couldn't go on their family vacation. So what are they going to do? They're going to buy cool shit. And if you're a watch guy, you're going to probably buy a watch. Well, the majority of people wanted to buy Rolexes, they wanted to buy Pateks, they wanted to buy APs. There physically aren't enough watches for the number of people that now have the means and the ability to buy these watches. So the prices started getting crazy and the availability dried up. And on top of that, you had opportunist arbitrage dealers buying inventory and jacking the prices up. That's fine. We live in
I call it the ticket master of the watch industry.
We live in in an economy that allows for that, and that's fine. It's not pleasant if you're a watch collector, but it's a reality. So what happened is that the independent watchmakers, all of a sudden, they got a whole lot more eyes onto their products, and where in the old days it was, it wasn't, I wouldn't say difficult to sell, but there were less people interested. All of a sudden, there were a lot more people interested, and so that's where this popularity comes from. Is literally the ability to beam pictures around the world, have people talk about it on various different media, and so the attention got there, and the watches were available. All again to the same point, tiny production levels. So some of these guys all of a sudden became so popular that we now have these ridiculous. You're talking about price. I'm talking about
pricing has gone out of the ceiling, and
I'm talking more about the time to get a watch.
the availability.
Yeah, you're waiting years because they literally can't make enough watches. If you're making 50 watches a year, you're making 10 watches a year, and all of a sudden you've got 50 people around the world that want your watch. That's 5 years.
You're short 40 watches, I think.
Yeah,
is by my math.
yeah.
So
that's I think that that's the popularity. We now have the way to communicate that we never had in the old days about, and I'd say people like myself, but also the watchmakers themselves. They can jump on Instagram, they can jump on a WhatsApp group and communicate directly with the potential
Well,
consumers.
yeah, I mean, I would say that the social media factor has played a 98% role in
Yep.
their success. Otherwise, you don't even know who they are. I mean, a guy like Dirk Dornbluth, I would have never known except for the watch meeting I went to, and
Mhm.
one of the members showed up and had 7 or 8 examples of the stuff, but
Yep.
now Dirk probably can't keep up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and good for them because, you know, you mentioned Rolex, they make 800,000 watches a year, and
Bit more.
maybe 20,000 people want more, 1 million, okay?
Yep.
I mean, they're milling 1 million watches.
Yeah, and there's probably 3 or 4 million people that would buy a watch
But-
just like that.
I mean, they'll go into a store
Yeah.
and into a Geary's, for example, and 70% of the watches aren't on display or not even for sale.
No, you walk through Heathrow, same thing.
Right. So I think I mean, I don't know what game Rolex has managed to because they make all these watches, but the inventory is squeezed, which I've never been able to figure out. So
Well, they're masters of. I mean, talk about marketing in the luxury, and that's a whole nother discussion.
right, that's another show.
The Daytona. That's the watch that they've never made enough for the market, specifically to keep people reaching. And
I mean, when the retail price of the watch is 13 grand, and you can't find one for less than 25.
on the
It's
aftermarket.
Ticketmaster. It's Ticketmaster.
Yeah. But this is not by accident. This is by design.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to think they seem to have fixed it, but I used to think that they made their website work crappy by design. Like you could go to the Rolex site and you might wait 5 minutes for something to pay. Everything else in the whole world is working like.
Yeah.
But the Rolex site, oh no, you're going to wait 5 minutes to see that Submariner.
Right.
So.
So yeah, I think that we've digressed from the original question of
Well, one thing we didn't cover that I wanted to go back to with George Daniels is that his invention was so incredible. Every single Omega watch has the coaxial escapement in it.
Well, yeah, but it took him something like 15 years of going to Switzerland, knocking on doors, and he talked to Rolex, he talked to Patek.
And they all were like, no, thank you.
Yeah,
But somebody Omega went, oh.
yeah, and part of that, and this is my opinion, is that the entrenched industry in Switzerland, because they didn't design it, they didn't develop it, they couldn't get their minds around accepting it as a better way of doing it.
Ego,
Yeah.
Swiss ego.
Yeah, and that's prevalent in a lot of industries, but that's, to my mind, why it took George so long. And until somebody at Omega finally said, you know what, this is better than what we've been using, let's adopt it,
And then
mass
the
produce it.
entire line. And they've even changed it. It's not called, it's called a master coaxial now.
Yeah, they've improved it
they've done their
for the
thing.
mass production of watches at their level, which they need to do. They've improved it even so.
Well, and everything within a Omega now is completely anti-magnetic and
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so we got a lot to get to. So you wanted to talk about AI.
Yeah, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently, specifically about AI, and it has got my attention in a big way.
Okay.
I'm late to the party, if you will. What do we have here on the screen behind us? So I downloaded ChatGPT, I'm slightly embarrassed to say, finally to my phone yesterday.
All right, folks. Tim is making a serious admission on the show.
Yep.
He's just now discovering ChatGPT.
Well, I know about it, I've heard about it, and I've listened to a lot of AI discussions,
Okay.
but I actually never used, I've never downloaded ChatGPT onto my phone until yesterday. So I spent about an hour on it, and what was remarkable, so one of the things I was thinking is, how clever is it? So I asked a question, I put a question into, prompted, please design a classical Swiss dress watch that's manual wind with a rose gold case, probably a guilloche dial.
Did you say time only?
Yeah, I think I said time only. Yep.
Did you want a brigade hand?
I didn't mention that.
But it put it on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is what it came. It gave me a whole. This is just the printout of a few specs, but it called it the Regulator Classique. That's the name it came up with.
I like it.
And what's it says? It says
It's a 38 to 39 millimeter, 18 karat rose gold, 3-hand manual wine dress watch with an engine turned guilloche silver dial, blued steel hands,
display back.
and display back.
Yeah. So that's what it came up, and it comes up with all these specs, and it drew this. Now this is a crude drawing, but that looks like a pretty classical.
Very classical.
Yeah.
3-handed movement.
Yeah. And the dial, that center section is for guilloche. It's got Arabics. I didn't specify Arabics or Romans, but it came up with that.
But now ChatGPT would learn that Tim likes Romans, and the next one it does.
Well, guess what? I'm going to play with this and see how. But I mean, it was remarkable what it came up with, and this is a
double dome sapphire, front and back crystal.
Yeah.
Anti-reflect on the inner surface. Wow, really.
I mean, it's remarkable. So why do I bring this up? AI is changing our world at a speed that I don't think people have a clue about. And in 2 to 3 years, the world is going to be a very different place. Now, specifically to do with the watch industry, why are we talking about this? There are a lot. There are a number of young watchmakers independent watchmakers coming on the scene, designing watches, bringing watches to market. And what has that done? Well, it's great for collectors in a way, but the significant part for me is that with AI, almost anybody, I can design a watch. I'm not a watchmaker. Do I need to go to school to design a watch? No. AI will go and scrub the world's watches produced to date and come up with a design. So is that as valuable, as interesting from a collecting standpoint as a watch made by a George Daniels or a F.P. Journe or one of these watchmakers prior to the AI?
Is this a rhetorical question? Because as you and I were talking earlier, as a musician, I can hear when the AI has been fully employed. Right now, okay, that's a good point.
I mean,
what am I going to do now? What's going to be tomorrow?
Right. Everything that I'm hearing about from people that are way smarter than me that are in this world is that the learning ability of the machines is we are going to get to a point where, we're interacting with somebody online, and it will be AI. It won't be a real person.
Well, that's now.
Right.
That's now. I mean, I'm screaming at the technical service person, human!
It's not. So why is this important for watchmaking? Well, because watch designs used to be an individual's creation, and that was what, for me, I found compelling about the independent watchmaker was that not only you had the left side of the brain or the right side of the brain had the ability, the mathematics and the physics and the science aspect and the engineering to develop the movement. Yeah, again, you'd have to go to school typically, or you'd learn from a watchmaker.
Or you'd reverse engineer or whatever.
Correct, you could do that. Yeah. But on the other side of the brain, you had the aesthetic, which came up with the idea of the dial design, the shape of the case, the hands, whether you use Romans or whatever, Arabics or some other markers, battens. And aesthetically, you designed your watch, what you wanted to put out in the world. And collectors, ideally, would like it and buy it. Well, today, with AI, that whole aesthetic design part, how does a young watchmaker, design a watch and not get influenced or not just use AI to come up with a design?
So a younger watchmaker...
and why does it? Because the CAD programs that they're using to design the movements or design the watch as a whole, they're going to be using AI.
Already?
Yeah.
So SolidWorks, to your point, which is the most popular design tool, not in just the watch world, but in the automotive world and in any other technical design world, it's the de facto CAD program. And now, to your point, artificial intelligence is now part of it. But people are afraid. You and I were talking, we always have a little powwow. People, before the show, we were talking about how people might have the impression in their heads that we're talking about an exoskeleton, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, It's
Right.
it's Skynet
Skynet,
becoming
yeah.
sentient, and
Yeah.
the machines are afraid that the humans are going to dismantle the machines, and there's
That might well happen.
it could very well happen. I think as an artist myself, and I know you as a true patron of artisan things, not just watches, but all things artisan. You're a gemologist. You're a jewelry expert. You're into high jewelry and hot horology, and I think that artisans are still going to take a great deal of pride in their craft, and I just do extent. Yeah.
I hope so.
I mean.
But also, what I want to see and what I want to promote is education for consumers to be able to differentiate the difference,
and
that's
it's very
key.
important. And as a connoisseur, as you are, and as watch geeks that we are both entrenched with, I think that this is an important undertaking. I think that more younger people need to understand the art of watchmaking, and if they want to use AI to help them do certain things, AI is for me, at least in my artistry, I like to use AI as an assisting tool.
Right.
Hey AI, check my grammar. Hey AI, check my spelling. But don't write my fucking letter for me.
Right. Well, I use it on my website when I'm writing my articles. It's part of the in the software of the website.
I mean, Copilot's built into Word, so you have to physically shut off AI now. And I think a lot of people, they don't even realize. And again, like we were talking before the show, a lot of you don't realize you've been using AI for about 20 years. Every time you went to a Google search and you typed independent watchmakers, that was artificial intelligence pulling, from every server in the world and bringing back you these indices that it thinks are pertinent to what you're searching for.
Right. So yeah, it's going to be a game changer, and I it's going to change the world.
Well, it already has.
It already is, and but the rate of acceleration is going to change. Anyway, we digress. What do we have?
We do digress. So if we haven't covered all of your artificial intelligence concerns, please write to us. We'll probably end up spending a few minutes of this AI business every show. So, who's this guy?
So this is a recent conundrum, if you will.
Conundrum.
Yeah, because I was visiting.
It's got my favorite kind of moon phase on it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So this is a pocket watch attributed to Louis Raby, who was and this ties in with what we were talking about earlier. He was one of the most prominent apprentices of Abraham Louis Breguet. Breguet is important because George Daniels probably, again, why is he so important to Indian watchmaking? George Daniels probably wrote the seminal book on Breguet, and he titled it The Art of Breguet. I bang on about watch being micromechanical art. So the tie-in here is Louis Raby was a watchmaker that worked for Breguet in Paris.
Apprentice. What did you call it? What kind of art?
Micromechanical.
And I call it living art. So I mean, they kind of
micromechanical horological art.
art.
So this watch belongs to a friend of mine in Arizona,
and this is a perpetual calendar, right?
No.
An annual calendar?
It's just a triple date moon phase.
Triple date.
So
moon
day,
phase.
date, month. The month is in that little window underneath 12. It's in French.
So that's February.
Yeah. You've got the day of the week.
Got, that looks like
Sunday is Saturday.
Saturday, and then it's the 25th.
Yeah, and then there's a moon phase,
There's a moon
and a
phase.
running seconds. Beautiful enamel dial, gorgeous watch. And he was showing me his collection a couple of weeks ago, and I was admiring his watch. I looked on the back, in the inside cover, and it says Louis Raby. And this could be, if you can read it, it's basically Horologe de l'Empereur.
Now that would be Napoleon,
Watchmaker to the emperor, yeah.
which would be different than the L'Oregerie de Roi,
which was to the king.
which was to the king. But
Right,
and I just watched the Ridley Scott movie. He did not want to be called king. This Napoleon.
So this watch, I looked at this watch, and it, beautiful from Paris, and I was talking to Steve, the owner, and he said, our mutual friend Don Loke, who's a master watchmaker in Connecticut, serviced this watch, and he made a comment about it. And so I actually called Don afterwards and said, "Hey, what about this? I saw this beautiful watch. Louis Raby. He's, oh yeah, one of the most beautifully hand-finished watches from, from the period. I said, how old do you think it is? Yeah, 1850. Now the auction company where Steve bought the watch dated at 1870. And I thought, well, interesting. And so I posted this watch on my Instagram account, and somebody, a couple of gentlemen who are far more intelligent or more studied in this area than I am, said, well, interesting, because Louis Raby, if he made this in 1870, must have been a very old man, and because if he worked with Breguet,
yeah.
he would have been very young, because Breguet died in 1823.
But he'd have been 100 when he made this watch.
Well, yeah, late 90s.
Yeah.
So there was some, incongruity here with the timeline.
The calendaring didn't work out.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research, and then a couple of fellows commented on my posting, gave me a lot of background information, and the auction company attributed it to, let's say, to 1870, and they mentioned, and so then I did a little bit more research, and somebody said, well, and George Daniels' The Art of Breguet, the book, mentions Louis Raby on page 90. So I didn't own the book then, I do own it now. So I messaged my friend in Australia who has all horological books that I know of.
We mentioned him a second ago.
Yeah, Roman,
yeah.
madman, lovely fellow. And
Beautiful
so I said,
guy.
can you take me a picture of page 90 of Daniel's book, The Art of Breguet, and send it to me so I can corroborate this, which he did very kindly. And yes, Louis Raby is mentioned by Daniels as this master apprentice of Breguet. However, this is where the plot thickens. As I was looking at this, so I went to the auction company's page to look at the watch and to see how they listed it. And the pictures are there. It's the same watch. It's beautiful. It's elegant. But I looked at the following lot, and the following lot is a Swiss watch. This is, Paris. There's a Swiss watch, and the bridge work, the click system, is almost identical to this watch. And it's, the watchmaker's quote unquote from Le Chaux de Fonds. And I thought, wait a minute, this watch here looks like it's almost identical in terms of make. What's up with this? This doesn't look like a Breguet or a French type of watch. It looks very, very similar. Well, one of the comments from this learned fellow was that perhaps the watch that sold at the auction, i.e. this watch, was not in fact made by Raby, was in fact made by Louis Audemars in the Vallée de Joux.
And I was curious, is that the Audemars Piguet, and you didn't know?
I don't know that. Again, I should, I don't.
I should too.
But I'm looking at this watch, and right here, this whole click system,
Yeah,
this watch has wolf teeth gearing, which is lovely, teeth profile, but this click system is almost identical to the following watch.
You and I were looking at it before the show,
Yep.
and you and I did not entirely agree, except architecture-wise it was the same.
Yeah.
Finish-wise it was different.
This is, and this one's better. This one's finished better.
This one had the bevel.
Yeah, which is why Don commented to me that this was one of the finest finished watches that he'd seen, and all the surfaces that we can't see in this picture.
Well, also, the gongs are pretty clean.
Yeah.
All things being equal, I don't know if we've even gotten into the fact that it's a quarter.
Yeah, quarter repeater. But everything in this watch, because he serviced this watch, he said it was one of the finest watches he's seen. He dated it from 1850. So again, there's issues.
So 20 years even prior, so that may even be from Raby's hands then at that point.
Well, but
That's more possible or no?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the issue, I think, is that, and this is, we talked about this. This is a Swiss watch industry,
Right.
Maybe just a watch industry issue. Is that a lot of the guys that sold the watches, who got their names on the watches, never made the watches. And if this movement is indeed, made by Louis Audemars in Le Chaux de Fonds, in the Vallée de Joux, which I now suspect it probably was, Louis Raby.
This one.
Yeah, this watch, this
Not
actual
the one
watch.
that seems similar to it, but this particular piece.
This particular watch, this is the classic watch industry issue that I've had complaints with, is opaqueness of not a sales guy, but a person taking somebody else's work, slapping their name on it, and selling it as theirs.
This was Hayek's big problem with selling ETA movements.
Yeah. Right. And I, you know, a lot of people hated him for it, but I didn't. I thought it was great.
No, I mean, it certainly pushed a lot of the more obscure brands into a position where they had to do their own thing.
Anybody that's more knowledgeable about this than me, I'd love to hear from them on this. But you know, it's on my Instagram account. I've got good pictures. These pictures, I mean, I can tell people where the original watch was sold, the auction company and so forth, because they've got better pictures as well. But I've done some research, and I just think it's fascinating.
Well, it's also, as we discussed, it's classic Val d'Ajou, right? So
yeah, I mean, this is
Le Chaux de Fonds all the way. So
yeah, I mean the
right
few
down,
watchmakers,
right down to this business here. I mean,
the three fingers.
The three fingers.
Yeah, I mean this is the watch industry that has been going on for far too long. Is, you know, the guy's name on the dial typically was not the person that made the watch, and there were specialists who did it.
And it's no different than today, really, because look at all the guys that have bought up the names, whether it be our guy from Chopard who's got the Berthoud, or you know, Arnold and Son, or whatever. I mean, they've all gone about buying up these names of legendary dudes.
Right.
Some of the brands haven't succeeded so well. I don't know what happened to Perle, for example, but Breguet is a thriving brand underneath the Swatch label, and
thriving. Yeah, I think it could be doing a lot better.
it's just not hip. You know, it's one of those brands where
it shouldn't have to be hip.
it shouldn't be, but it's for watch guys like us. It's one of those, if you know things, you know, and God knows there's a Breguet that I've been in love with forever. But the traditional's the only one I'd be really interested in the sense that it's just, I would want something that harkens back to Breguet, and it seems like a lot of the parts of this brand, while very high end, and the Hayeks have done a great job with it, it's not a traditional. Only the traditional line of watches feel Breguet to me. I can't explain it, but it's a.
Well, I'll slightly disagree there, because I believe that some of the watches that Daniel Roth designed for Breguet are traditional Breguet-looking watches, and the one specifically that I love is, and I don't know the reference, it could be a 7137, but it's got a moon phase and a power reserve and a sub-second on it. So there's a power reserve usually at, would it be at 10 o'clock?
It's at 10 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's...
and it's got a little small chapter dial, hours and minutes.
No, it's full. No, center.
It's a full center dial. Okay.
I should have a picture of it behind us, but you can edit it in.
Yeah, I'll put one.
Yeah,
there's one right here now.
Right. So it's a classic, and Daniel Roth, who was tasked with designing, let's say, the more modern Breguet classical-looking watches, took this design from an original Breguet pocket watch, and so that for me, that's my favorite.
So did you feel the heritage when you see this one?
Absolutely.
You feel like you're transported back almost 300 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful guilloche dial. It's a Breguet.
It's
in a modern day interpretation.
Well, I mean, so it's a you know, it's classic styling with a modern revisit, and I think that's great. One thing that I've noticed is, and we all know, those of us who know that Breguet is really the guy of all this, but I'm always surprised how many people don't even know. They're like Breguet, Breguet. Well, they don't even know who the guy is. And here's a little trivia piece before we start looking at some other pictures. If you go to Paris and you see the name Breguet, there you go. You see the name Breguet.
Buy the book.
You got to have this book. If you see, then turn that thing over, because I think that's the 160 on the back, isn't it? That's the 160. I mean, this is the front of the 160 and the back of the 160.
What's the 160?
That's the Marie Antoinette.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And that's a winder. You see that big mass thing on there, folks?
Automatic, yeah, self-winding.
Self-winding watch. Turn it back over. This watch was so ahead of its time. It's an open work watch. It's not skeleton. And Breguet actually put the indicators on the inside on the
I think
bottom
that is.
of the crystal that's on the front. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, well, you know what, Tim? We're going to spend an entire episode talking about just this one.
So I've got to dive into this book. I should have bought it a long time ago.
When he discovered AI is when he should have got this book.
Well, the interesting, so AI will know what's in this book. There's the crazy part, right?
You'd save yourself a lot of time. As we were
Right.
talking about before the show,
But-
if I want to learn how to play bassoon, I'm going onto YouTube.
Right. But anyway, this is the definitive book. Daniel's,
Oh, listen, these books, even if you thumb through them, it's like watching a cooking show. You will learn
Yeah.
something whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Roger Smith, shall we?
Sure. We talked
We
about
did, but we're going to get into some
let's
of
look at
the, some of the
watches.
serious watches now. And this is an open work piece. And when I
Yeah.
say open work, I want to make sure people know it's not skeletonized.
No,
Right?
It's an open dial, essentially.
Open dial, you're going to see everything. So tell us about this watch.
Well, I mean, you can see it. This is a Series 2.
See it.
Yeah.
it's not a lot of mystery here.
I mean, basically what Roger's done is that he's got rid of the solid guilloche dial, which is typical silver guilloche dial, and the numerals, they're in blue steel, they're actually attached around the outside, and you can just see all the keyless works, which is how the watch is set, on the right-hand side at 3 o'clock. There's black polished steel parts that hold the setting mechanism underneath it. You've got solid gold, which is black polished gold down at 6 o'clock. There's a jewel there that's holding the seconds hand.
This bridge is solid gold.
Yeah, that's solid gold. It's black polished gold, which is not easy to do.
And is that purplish sort of Roger's own color? Because
Yeah.
they match the Romans.
Yeah. The hands are purpled as opposed to blued,
To
and
blue,
that's just a different time factor of heating. So I don't know if it's longer than, I think it's going longer than blue turns it to purple.
I think that's right. And
Yeah.
I think cooling it in a certain temperature liquid is also has something to do with it.
And then at around between 9 and 10, you've got the arc for the up-down or the power reserve.
Power reserve, yeah.
Yeah. And you can see the jewels are held in chatons, and chatons are solid gold, and they are with the blue screws, and they are utilized by watchmakers so that if a jewel cracked, today that's very rarely going to happen, but if it did in the old days, it's much easier to unscrew it, take it out, replace it, as opposed to having to redo the seat in the plate for the jewel.
It's such a great point. I mean, a guy like Roger Smith and Kari Voutilainen, they're still following the very, very serious old method traditions. You know, even Kari said to me once, I'm not going to work with a material that I don't know is going to be around in 100 years.
Yeah.
And I said, "But you won't be around." He goes, "I know, but my watches will be,
Yeah.
and I want somebody to be able to fix them."
Exactly, and everything in Roger's watch can be serviced by a competent watchmaker.
Right. I mean, that's a big deal, right? I mean,
Roger will be long gone.
right. And these are like, these are super machines. Even though it's just a simple time-only watch, but you can see the amount of work that's gone into this. I love these gold bridges here at 12 and 6. I think it's just a super nice touch. Let's see what we got here. Here's the back. Why don't you tell us what we're seeing?
Yeah, so the back, again, here, it's not the finest photograph, but the lighting wasn't great. But where the barrel is, which has got the jewel, the chatons, that's been hand engraved, and it's beautiful.
Who does the engraving?
I don't know.
Not Roger.
No.
Did George Daniels do the engraving on his pieces?
To my knowledge, he did the engraving but he didn't do floral engraving. He had, when I say Daniels had engraving, he would hand engrave the name, any information that was written on his movements, which he did write stuff down, but it was done by, engraved onto the plates. This style of floral engraving is done by a hand engraver. Now he probably works for Roger on the Isle of Man, and his job would be specifically to just do that hand engraving.
But does he even have enough work?
Yeah.
So he's a full-timer.
Yeah, because
Roger must have a staff of maybe 7 or 8, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but so he's not only doing this floral engraving, which we see right up here, but also behind me, if you get me out of the way. Yeah. So the writing, the numbering, the names, all that is done by hand on the bridges.
And it's a guy who does it.
Guy or girl, yeah.
Guy or girl, probably second or third generation artisan.
Yeah, and they are, and it's done at an extraordinary level. You've also got the coaxial escapement in this watch because...
Oh, you can actually see, I know the picture's not great, but you can actually see...
Yeah, the wheel.
The wheel there, yeah.
It's got
that's
these
why I
long
give it.
teeth.
That's why I give
Yeah.
it the. I mean, I'm going to do this so that I'm going to try to get my hand into the spot where it is. So this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And again, this is just an exercise in hand finishing to the nth degree. Yes, they do use CNC machines to cut out parts, the main plate and the bridges, but that's...
Everything else is, but anything that comes out of a CNC machine is also highly finished.
Well, it's I wouldn't say it's highly finished. It's,
Well, okay, I could see this being cut by a CNC machine,
of course.
but somebody goes and does all the beveling and all this with one of those toothpicks from, piece of wood from wherever.
Yeah, and then the surface texture is all done as well, and
Right.
it's so, and it's done at a level that is rarely seen. It's a
Maybe we can see a little better here.
yeah.
Let me do a second
Yeah, and
one.
again, you've got that's a solid gold bridge for where that's holding the coaxial wheel. These are again black polished gold. So black polishing, as we talked about that in the past, is typically done at least in Switzerland, is done on stainless steel, hardened steel, and steel will take this mirror finish because it's a very hard metal. Gold is much softer.
This is a gold. I mean,
This is actually, this is
it's a
carat gold.
gold movement. So
Well, no, the movement is brass, but those two cocks that are attached right at the bottom right, you can see that they look rose gold.
Yeah.
That's actually those are gold. I believe they're
those are
18
gold,
carats.
just like on the front at 6 and 12.
Yeah,
those bridges.
they're made of gold. They're made of carat gold. They're not.
But this plate here is not gold.
No, it's gold plated on top of brass.
Got it.
Whereas those bridges or cogs, they're actually solid 18 karat gold. And to black polish gold, which is a much softer material,
Can't be easy.
it's to get that reflective, perfect mirror finish is very difficult on gold.
And even his screws have the purple.
Yeah,
So his part of his DNA is the purple.
yeah. Here's another watch.
This is a different watch, right?
Yeah, this I think is a series. No, this is a series 5. So this is the skeleton watch.
Oh, it is. Let's see if we have a front side of it.
Yeah, that's the first watch we looked at. So, yeah, and that's a series 2.
So I don't have a front of this.
Yeah, you do. We just looked at it. This is the first watch we looked at.
Oh, it's this one.
It's that watch.
Okay.
See, it says S5,
Yeah.
number 7. So Series 5 is now, that's an open work. Series 2 is now Series 5.
And it's and the balance cock is also engraved.
Hand engraved, yeah. And a slightly different style from.
What's this?
Where? That's that little, that's a shield, and that shows the, what do you call it? It's the Isle, for the Isle of Man.
That's the Isle of Man. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a three-legged depiction.
And that's the coat to arms of the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then also in this picture, it's kind of cool. You can see the English hallmarking system on the case. So down right there.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
the
that's
English hallmarking system, which is where the term hallmark comes from, is any precious metal sold in the UK had to have, and has traditionally had to have, an independently verified mark on the gold, and that was put in for consumers.
So what is this? This is Roger,
Yeah, R.W. Smith is his
R.W.
cartouche.
Smith.
Yeah.
and then the crown.
The next one is a crown, so that tells you it is
is British.
well, no, it tells you it's gold, and it's and then the next one is a leopard head. That tells you it was done in London. So there are different hallmarking offices around the UK.
And
Right.
this, that's 750 white gold.
750 is a purity.
And Twitter.
No, yeah, X. So that tells you the year. So each year they change the date letter, so you can date English jewelry and watches to the.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Ah, you gemologist, you.
Yeah. So
Look at this watch, you guys. This
Yeah.
is just, listen, when it comes to British watchmaking, this guy is the guy.
Yeah.
Now, I think I have a couple of other pictures I wanted to get to of his, because there's some. Okay, so let's look at this. Tell us about this one.
So this is a fairly early Series 2 with a unique dial. So as opposed to having a guilloche complete dial, so in the original Series 2 had 3 layers of guilloche. So it had the chapter where the power reserve is. That's one level. And in this particular watch, was that a barleycorn, I think?
It's a barleycorn,
yeah.
And then you had the one with the seconds.
For the sub-seconds, yeah. And that's
That's a checkered pattern.
It looks like a Clos de Paris.
Clos de Paris, yeah.
And then the rest of the dial on the inside of the Roman numeral chapter would be a third style of guilloche.
But is that actually engine turned?
No. That's what I'm saying. This specific watch is a unique piece because the owner said, I love your watch, but is there something you could do unique for me? And Roger said, well, I've been toying with the idea of having this gun engraver do a style of sort of floral engraving on a dial. Would you be interested? And he said, yeah, absolutely.
So he's like a pistol jeweler who did this.
Gun engravers typically for rifles or shotguns.
Right. So when you get a weapon that's been sorely ornately
hand engraved,
finished, and I mean, I've got. I should bring it if I didn't want to show it off, but I've got a 10 gauge that was hand knurled all the way around and hand engraved, and it's got. I mean, it literally has the circle, the coat de arms all the way around it. I mean, it's almost got the perlage all the way around the barrel area. So.
Well, yeah. So in the engraving, hand engravers. What were they used for? They were used in the jewelry industry. They were used in silver industry, and they also used in the gun industry for people that wanted to, wealthy guys would spend a lot of money, having a gun hand engraved. Now we've changed to something else. This is again an early Roger Smith tourbillon with a coaxial escapement. This watch I had the pleasure of handling in my shop probably in 2012 maybe. Am I going back in time? Yeah.
Belongs to a client, this one?
Yeah. Roger actually came to visit to hand deliver it to a gentleman in Los Angeles.
Is this a British sensibility about this 3/4 plate? Because it's very Saxon, so that's why I'm...
Right, well, guess what? The Brits did it before the Germans. The Saxon watchmakers copied the early English watchmakers.
That is a very important fact, you watch geeks.
Yeah.
This 3/4 plate is not, this is a British piece of business.
English watchmaking, shall we say.
Okay.
Well, it was based in,
Blimey watchmaking, folks.
Yeah, in London.
Tell us.
And there's the watch. That's the front of that watch.
That's the front. Okay, so let's do this the other way. So here's the front of this watch.
Yeah. And
it looks like it has a retrograde date system.
Correct.
It's got the multiple patterns of guilloche.
Yeah. Two patterns. It's got a power reserve.
It's got a power reserve, which seems to be part of Roger's DNA, always there between, say, 9 and 11, but this one's turned around.
Yeah, and because this watch was a unique piece.
Okay, so somebody said, do something different for me.
Well, they said I wanted a very special watch. I want a tourbillon.
So it says number 0, right?
I think it's 2.
Number 2.
Yeah, it's number 2. This is the second tourbillon he did.
And it's got the tremblage, or what you call the frosty blage.
Yep, on the back. And that tourbillon is sitting on a incredibly black polished bridge, and it's a coaxial tourbillon.
It's a coaxial tourbillon.
Yeah. Yeah. So George made a few of those in a pocket watch. This is a different watch. This is
very famous for a couple reasons. I'll let you say your.
Well, I know it is. It's the Great Britain watch.
Right. And it was made for the Jubilee, right? It was for the Queen's Jubilee. I thought.
Yes, I think so. And it was the politicians in London decided they wanted to create or show off English arts and sciences, and Roger was asked if he would build a watch for the Great Britain program that was these pieces, these items, of which this watch was one of them, were sent around the world, I believe, to show off, British ingenuity, British handcrafts, British engineering, blah blah blah. And so this particular watch, Roger made. The dial,
the Union Jack dial is super cool.
Yeah, a guilloche, again hand done, different layers of guilloche in the Union Jack pattern.
And the Roman numerals that you love.
Yeah, platinum case.
Platinum case, and I also like, and just to point it out because I don't think we talk about it, but that looks like a little bit of Piccadilly Circus action. So going back to the Peter Speak Marin,
the hand.
The hand, yeah. I mean, I think it's
that shape of hand has been used.
Right. It just seems like it's
quite English,
particularly English.
Yeah.
Because I think these are the hands you find in the Piccadilly, on the clocks in the Piccadilly.
Yes. Yeah. But it's that watch.
Gorgeous, stunning, gorgeous. And now, were you looking at the back of it now?
Yeah, that's it right there.
And again with the Isle of Man. Oh, we did see. So the pictures are a little out of order. I see.
And it says Great Britain on the back, and that year in Romans is, what is that? 2008. 2018.
2018. Yeah. So that's the 100-year jubilee. So that's right. Yeah, that's right for the Queen.
Yeah.
And I think that's.
So that watch I got to, Roger was wearing at one time. I had a meeting with him and a couple of potential clients for one of his watches in London, and Roger rocked up wearing this watch, and I said, "Hey, let me have it?" I'd seen pictures of it, and so I got to handle it, put it on my wrist, take photographs of it, and being originally from England, this was quite a moment for me.
Well, listen, it's so unique, and I think what's so amazing about these watches is they're absolutely uncomplicated, and then the amount of effort that goes into making them is super complicated. So these time-only watches, I don't think Roger doesn't make anything super complex. Well, his tourbillon is complex.
He has made some stuff, unique pieces, and then his most complicated watch today is his complete calendar. So it has a day, date, month, moon phase, and it has a peripheral date that runs around the outside.
Is it perpetual?
No.
It's annual.
I don't even think it's annual. It's just a triple date moon phase, and it's the classic. It's got the windows for the day of the week and the month, and then the date goes around the outside.
A picture of that. I'll see if I can find. If I can find it, it'll be here. If I didn't find it, it's not here.
Yeah.
Okay. But one thing about this watch that I think is important to point out is, as far as complexities go, a retrograde date. So this means that when we get to the 31st, it goes all the way back.
Yeah, it flicks back. Yeah.
Literally at midnight. Now, some of them go back like that. Some of them make a slow track back.
Typically, because it's a spring system, so typically it's almost instantaneous. It flicks back.
But if you look at Kari's watch, it takes its time. So inside of the watch, there's a spring that's being bent back during the course of the month.
Right, and traditionally a snail cam rotates to the end of the month, and when you get to the end of the month, there's a big drop, and that's what flicks.
Right, that's what pushes it all the way back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a terribly complicated thing, but it kind of is. And
it's cool.
It's a little part that looks like what we call a spring just looks like a piece of wire. So.
Yeah, the snail cam.
Yeah. Hey, another great show.
Are we done?
Oh
my God.
You got some other comments you want to make?
No, I think there's a whole lot of stuff that we can follow up with in another show.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, if you saw anything you liked today, and even if you saw stuff you don't like today, you can give Tim a call. All of his contact information will be scrolling up.
Yep, all comments.
Yeah, any questions you guys have, please write to us. Be sure to subscribe. I know you see the sign popping up throughout the show. Subscribe. We need subscribers. We appreciate everybody who comes to watch the show.
Yeah, thanks for listening and watching. Thanks for being Scott again, technical director. Well played, man.
Well, good. I'm Scott Goldman with WatchGeekTime. This is Tim Jackson with IndependentInTime.com.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
That's the WatchGeekTime podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.